Hi everyone, Zoran here from Your Empire and Hot Property Buyers Agency here in Brisbane. Today I'm joined by Chris Gray from Your Empire in Sydney and Lauren Staley from Your Empire and Infolio in Melbourne. How are we all going, guys? Day after Melbourne Cup. Everyone feeling well?
Yeah, I didn't lose any money on the races, but I certainly lost a fortune on that rate rise. Not very happy about that, but it is what it is.
That's the way to look at it. Well, yeah, I don't bet. I look at it as the race that stops the economy. So I continue to work. But guys, thank you very much for being on the video today. Obviously, we're heading to the downhill run to Christmas, and the market is changing. I don't know about you guys, but here in Brisbane, the market is exceedingly hot. We've had some of the biggest last 2 weeks we've had, since the start of the financial year. What's the word on the ground down there, Lauren? How are you finding the market?
Look, it's really interesting. I still feel like we're facing a two-speed market. Turnkey properties are outperforming. If you've got anything that's B grade or needs renovating, no one's touching them. And that's predominantly due to the wait times. I think that our stock levels are still 35% under what they would normally be. And that's kind of creating this false economy on the properties. I guess you guys know, we got cooked in Melbourne by our government. So there's not a lot of people coming in from an investment point of view. And with rate rises, we're seeing a lot of these investment grade properties hit the market. But the family home buying market is hot. We're at capacity with clients. It's performing really well. The rate rises don't seem to be deterring people's need and desire now to move on. And inflation, my view is after 2 years of COVID, and in particular in Melbourne, after being locked into our houses, people are like, I don't give a continental what's going on anymore. I'm going to spend my money how and when I want to.
Yeah, I agree. And Chris, it looks like people are hanging off the side of buildings due to that last rate rise in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, exactly. This is one of the reasons that I rent rather than buy. I think a $2 million special levy here, 100 grand, and here he comes past, and maybe he'll give us a little wave. I think they're doing some concrete cancer on the building. When you're 18 stories, then it's not a thing of a bit of scaffolding. It's very expensive people flying down on ropes, I think, for the last month or two. So very much glad I'm a renter here rather than a buyer. But look, the market's still super strong. There's a lot of stuff going on. We've had record kind of the last 3 months. It's been really, really good results for us. Buying a lot of property, anything from kind of 700 or 800 through to the kind of 10 or 15 million and stuff for development sites. So look, it's still really strong. I don't think the rate rise will make that much difference. And look, hopefully we'll get over them soon. So I actually don't mind the rate rises, even though it cost me a fortune. Let's get them over and done with. Then let's put the rates down and get back to a bit of normality.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, personally, I think that was probably the rate rise that they felt they needed to do in order to set the tone heading in towards Christmas. So it'll be interesting to see how inflation numbers look over Christmas. Obviously, a lot of people are spending due to the time of year over that time. So it'd be really interesting to see what happens on the ground. I'm finding, similar to what you said, Lauren, here in Brisbane, owner-occupiers are the dominant force. So that means, again, if you're a seller, you need to cater your property to that owner-occupier market as much as possible. But also, if you're an investor looking to buy, you are somewhat like a shark in the water out there, able to pick up some great deals that may not be appealing to the owner-occupier demographic. So, and look, obviously, yet to see how this interest rate rise will affect the market and its momentum. But at this stage, with the proportion of cash and the high deposit levels we're seeing on purchases at the moment, I think a small interest rate rise doesn't really affect as many people as you may think out there in the market. Probably hurts the people who need to get in the market the most, which are those first home buyers and investors. Let's have a look at the CoreLogic results. Chris, do you want to pull them up? And let's walk through that. It looks like we're seeing positive growth in everywhere but Darwin, but we've always known Darwin's been a bit of a funny market. But Sydney, Chris, do you want to talk to Sydney and what you're seeing there?
Yeah. So for the people that can't see it on maybe small screens, is for the month, Sydney's up 0.8%, 2.5% for the quarter, and annually 9%. Melbourne up 0.5%, 1.2% for the quarter, 2.4% annually. And then Brisbane, 1.4 for the month, 3.8 for the quarter, and 7.8 annually. So looking at Sydney, look, we've been going roughly at about 1% per month, which is about 10 or 15 grand for a $1 or $1.5 million property, which is typically what we're buying all the time. And that's the thing is, for so many people, they're waiting to bottom the market. They keep thinking the interest rates are going to make a change. But as we can see, it's 9% annually. So we've roughly had 1% for 9 months. And that's the thing is, you've got to get in the market, because otherwise, if it suddenly takes off like it's done in 2021 before, which no one expected, suddenly it goes up at 10, 20 or 30%, you're going to miss the market. So again, the golden rules that we keep repeating for years and years and years is, if you've got the money, you can buy the right property for the right price in the right location. Now is the time to buy it. Don't delay and try and predict the future, because even the economists can't predict it. No one, a couple of weeks ago, no one was predicting this rate rise. Something changes and things change. So no one can predict the future. You just need to get in.
Yeah, for sure. And Lauren, I'm very interested about the Melbourne stats there. The total return seems a bit soft. Is that a representation of potentially some opportunity still in the Melbourne market?
I think that we're at the bottom of a rising market. So, and we've already, that real bottom has been missed, and you've seen that because we've already had growth. And there are some areas that are outperforming those statistics that you're seeing, because remembering that's Greater Melbourne, and it's not necessarily the suburbs that we buy in, which is inner affluent blue chip Melbourne, and they are consistently performing. So my view is, for those people who have been sitting back, the smart ones who think that, they're going to time the market and they're waiting for those opportunities, they've missed the boat, and it is the bottom of an uplift. And I think probably from February next year onwards, it's just going to be, I think it's going to be full steam ahead. So the people who were planning or waiting or holding, they need to get in there now.
That's because everyone comes up from Melbourne to Queensland until February, isn't it? Is that why?
Yeah, Zoran.
Now, obviously, seasonally, it definitely impacts the Queensland market as we head towards Christmas. A lot of holiday makers coming up and often making, rash or last minute decisions on, hey, I like Noosa, maybe I'll buy something.
Let me buy a property.
Which happens more often than you think, which scares the crap out of me as a buyer's agent. But anyway, so guys, 1 month to go to the end of the year, obviously. Chris, are we doing another video before Christmas time?
Yeah, I think we'll do one in December, but pretty much all of the properties that are going to be listed will be listed now, because if you think, most of the time there's a 4-week campaign with the second week into November, so that takes us a second week in December. The agents want to make sure they get it cleared. They want to go off on holidays for 6 weeks and go off to Europe like they do. So this is pretty much it. But like we said in the update last month, there's still opportunities around. There's the properties that maybe don't sell at that auction that are still hanging around. And there's always some of the ones that are going to be listed in February. But if the buyer's agent or the customer has got a relationship with the agent, they can then potentially get offers done in advance. And then suddenly someone can relax over Christmas knowing that they've actually sold their property, and they don't wait till next year. So there's definitely opportunities still around.
Yeah, for sure. I would definitely be keeping an active eye on the market as we head towards Christmas, as sellers become a little bit more desperate, or maybe urgency with the line in the sand of Christmas and New Year's. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you very much for joining me. As always, the dynamic trio of myself, Zoran Solano here in Brisbane, representing the Your Empire and Hot Property Buyers Agency brand, Chris Gray, Your Empire in Sydney, and Lauren Staley, representing the Your Empire and Infolio teams. Thank you very much.